You may be seated. All right, State, you may call your next witness.
State will call Eric Brothers.
Raise your right hand. Be ready to be sworn.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the complete truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your first and last name for the record?
Yes, my name is Eric Brothers. E-R-C-B-R-O-T-H-E-R-S.
Mr. Brothers, how are you employed?
I am a crime scene analyst employed by the Seminole County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been employed with the Seminole County Sheriff's Office?
Going on 18 years now.
Do you have any prior experience as a crime scene analyst?
Yes, I do. Before starting with Seminole County, I was a crime scene technician with the Osceola County Sheriff's Office for approximately a year and a half.
What are your duties with the Seminole County Sheriff's Office at this time?
As a crime scene analyst, what I'm responsible for is responding to crime scenes and then documenting, collecting, and sometimes processing physical evidence found at crime scenes.
Can you please explain to the jury your training and experience and education in order to become a crime scene analyst?
I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Forensic Science from the University of Central Florida. In addition to that, I am a certified crime scene investigator with the International Association for Identification, and I have successfully completed over 900 hours of specialized training in various aspects of crime scene investigation.
And have you had continued training while employed with the Seminole County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I have.
I want to draw your attention to January 25th of 2019. Did you respond to the location of 2301 Maitland Center Parkway in Maitland, Florida?
Yes, I did.
Why did you respond to that location?
That was in reference to documenting a subject known as Jason Amato and his vehicle.
Approximately what time did you respond to that location?
I arrived there at approximately 2 p.m.
And to your knowledge, was that location the location where Jason Amato was working?
Yes.
When you arrived on scene, what did you do?
I began documenting both Mr. Amato and his vehicle as I observed them with notes and photographs, and then additional tasks thereafter.
So you met with Jason Amato?
Yes, I did.
How did you confirm his identity?
From both the investigators on scene as well as Mr. Amato identified himself.
So I want to start with your search of Jason Amato's vehicle. Did you conduct a search of his vehicle?
Yes, I did.
Did you locate any items in his vehicle as evidentiary value?
Yes, I did.
Can you please describe for the jury?
I collected a small smoking pipe and a plastic container which held suspected marijuana from his vehicle.
Okay. And when you found those items, what did you do with it?
They were packaged and submitted into our evidence unit.
Did you locate any suspected blood in Jason Amato's vehicle?
No, I did not.
Did you locate any weapons in Jason Amato's vehicle?
No, I did not.
And after conducting your investigation of Jason Amato's vehicle, you stated you did a search of Jason Amato himself.
Yes, I did.
Can you please describe that?
Quite simply, I looked at Mr. Amato for any visible injuries, and I also looked at his clothing for any items of evidentiary value, such as suspected blood.
And did you find any items of evidentiary value?
No, I did not.
Did you find any suspected blood?
No, I did not.
You stated you observed Jason Amato for any visible injuries. Did you find any?
No, I did not.
So did you locate any suspected blood on Jason or his hands?
No, I did not.
After completing your investigation at Jason Amato's work and of his car and his person, did you then respond to Jason Amato's home?
Yes, I did.
Was that address in Pleasant Grove in Winter Springs, Florida?
Yes, it was.
And for what purpose did you respond to that location?
to photograph and document his residence and search it for any weapons.
Approximately what time did you respond to that location?
We arrived there at approximately 4:15 p.m.
Can you please describe the investigation you conducted at Jason Amato's house?
I photographed Mr. Amato's house as well as a car in the garage. As I observed them, I then searched his residence for weapons such as guns.
And did you find any weapons?
No.
Did you find any items with suspected blood at Jason Amato's house?
No.
Did you search every room in Jason Amato's house?
Yes, I did.
Did you find anything that led to any suspicion of Jason Amato?
No, I did not.
How long did you conduct a search of Jason Amato's home?
I was there approximately 2.5 hours.
And you stated there was a home or a vehicle at the home?
Yes, there was.
Can you describe that vehicle?
It was a black Scion XB.
And did you conduct a search of that vehicle?
I did.
Did you find any items of evidentiary value?
No, I did not.
Did you find any suspected blood?
No.
Any weapons?
No.
So during the course of your entire search of Jason Amato, did you locate any blood?
No.
Any weapons?
No.
Now drawing your attention to January 26th of 2019, where you asked to respond to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office located at 100 Esslinger Way in Sanford, Florida.
Yes, I was.
What was that in reference to?
I was actually called twice on that day to respond to the sheriff's office. The first time was to secure a vehicle in our forensic services garage, and the second time was to document and collect evidence from Grant Amato.
So you did meet with a person who became known to you as Grant Amato?
Yes, I did.
And how did he become known to you?
He became known to me when I went to our DIS investigation room, and he was there, and he was identified to me by the investigators already there as Grant Amato.
And the person that was identified to you as Grant Amato, do you see him in the courtroom today?
If I may stand?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, I do. It's the gentleman to my right with the dark suit and what appears to be a dark gray shirt.
Can you see what color tie?
I believe it's purple.
And for the record, is he the person sitting closest to the far wall?
Yes, he is.
May the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
Did you examine the person you've just identified as the defendant, Grant Amato, for any visible injuries?
Yes, I did.
Did you see any visible injuries?
I observed what appeared to be a small abrasion on his left forearm.
Did it appear to be a fresh abrasion or some?
No, it did not.
Okay. So something that might have been there for a while?
Potentially, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ask the defendant to submit to a DNA examination?
Mr. Amato, yes. Provide a voluntary DNA sample, and he did.
Okay, so he did consent to the DNA sample?
Yes, he did.
Can you please explain to the jury how you collected that DNA sample from the defendant?
I used a prepackaged buccal swab kit, in this case, to collect the DNA sample from Mr. Amato.
Can you please explain to the jury what a buccal swab kit is and how it is used?
A buccal swab kit is basically a non-invasive way of collecting a DNA sample from an individual using sterile cotton swabs.
And what do you do with the sterile cotton swabs?
I rub them on the inside of the cheeks for roughly 10 to 15 seconds, collecting skin cells from the inside of the cheeks.
Okay. So you can, in fact, collect DNA from inside of a person's mouth?
Yes, you can.
After you collected the DNA samples, what did you do?
I photographed Mr. Amato as I observed him, and I collected his clothing.
And the buccal swabs, did you submit them into evidence for any further testing?
They were submitted into our evidence unit, and they were subsequently submitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for analysis.
Okay. And you stated you also collected the defendant's clothing that he was wearing when you first met with him?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Showing council what's been marked for identification as states 8O, 13C, 13D, 13E, 13F, and 13G for identification. Permission to approach the witness.
You may.
I'll start by showing you states 8O. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
I recognize it by the unique case number associated with this incident, as well as the unique item number that I gave this particular package, and I recognize my initials on the security seal on the back of the envelope.
And what is this a package of?
This is the buccal swab collection kit that I collected from Grant Amato.
Okay. And is it in substantially the same condition as when you collected it?
It appears to be, yes, ma'am.
Permission to move 8O into evidence as states next.
Any objection?
No objection, Judge.
All right, what's been pre-marked for ID as State's Exhibit 8O will be moved into evidence as State's Exhibit 206 in evidence. I thought we entered the other thing as 205. All right. Then it'll be 205 in evidence.
I'm now going to show the witness states 13C, 13D, 13E, 13F, and 13G. If you could please take a look at these exhibits.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize these exhibits?
I do.
Starting with 13C, what is that an exhibit of?
13C.
Or
13C are the green scrub bottoms that I collected from Grant Amato.
and is this item in substantially the same condition as when you collected it from the defendant?
Yes, it is.
And moving to 13D, do you recognize that exhibit?
Yes, I do.
What is that an exhibit of?
This is the green medical scrub top that I collected from Grant Amato.
And is this package in substantially the same condition as when you collected it for evidence?
Yes, it is.
13E, do you recognize that exhibit?
I do.
What is that an exhibit of?
This is Grant Amato's underwear that I collected at that time.
And is that package in substantially the same condition as when you collected it for evidence?
Yes, it is.
13F, do you recognize that exhibit?
Yes.
What is that an exhibit of?
This is a white T-shirt that I collected from Grant Amato. It was underneath the green scrub top.
And is this item in substantially the same condition as when you collected it for evidence?
Yes, it is.
And finally, 13G, do you recognize that exhibit?
I do.
How do you recognize it?
I recognize it, again, by the unique case number associated with this incident, as well as my initials, both on the front of the bag and on the security seal on the back of the bag.
And is this item in substantially the same condition as when you collected it for evidence?
Yes, it is.
Permission to move states 13C, D, E, F, and G into evidence as states next.
No objection, Judge.
All right. Then what's pre-marked for ID as State's Exhibit 13C will be moved into evidence as State's Exhibit 206 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as State's Exhibit 13D will be moved into evidence as State's Exhibit 207 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as State's Exhibit 13E will be moved into evidence as State's Exhibit 208 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as State's Exhibit 13F will be moved into evidence as State's Exhibit 209 in evidence. And what's been pre-marked for ID as State's Exhibit 13G will be moved into evidence as State's Exhibit 210 in evidence.
Of the clothing you collected from the defendant in this case, did you notice any suspected blood?
No, I did not.
You stated you conducted a further investigation in this case when you met with the defendant. Was that of his vehicle?
Yes.
At this time, I'd ask the court to move into, I'm showing states, or the defense 8B. We would ask the court to move into evidence as states next as a self-authenticating document from the DHS-NB.
No objection, Judge.
All right, and that's 8B as in boy. What's been pre-marked for ID as states 8B will be moved into evidence as states 211 in evidence.
I'm also going to show counsel what's been previously marked for identification as 8C through 8L. Permission to approach the witness.
You may.
Showing the witness what's been marked as 8C through 8L for identification. Do you recognize these exhibits?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize them?
I recognize them to be photographs that I took of the vehicle that was secured in our forensics garage.
And are these photographs fair and accurate of the investigation you conducted of the defendant's vehicle?
Yes, they are.
Permission to move 8C through 8L into evidence as states next.
No objection, Your Honor.
What's been pre-marked for ID as States Exhibit 8C will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 212 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as States Exhibit 8D will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 213 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as States Exhibit 8E will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 214 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as States Exhibit 8F will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 215 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as States Exhibit 8G will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 216 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as States Exhibit 8H will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 217 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID, States Exhibit 8I will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 218 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as States Exhibit 8J will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 219 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as States Exhibit 28K will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 220 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as States Exhibit 8L will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 221 in evidence. Exhibits. 8G is not entered. It is 8H will be then, what's been pre-marked as 8H will be exhibit number 216 in evidence. What's been pre-marked as 8I will be 217 in evidence. What's been pre-marked as 8J will be 218 in evidence. what's been pre-marked for ID as 8K will be 219 in evidence, and what's been pre-marked as 8L will be 220 in evidence.
Mr. Brothers, I'm showing you what's now in evidence. It states 213. Is this the vehicle you described to the jury that you conducted an investigation on?
Yes, it is.
I'm also going to show you what's now in evidence. It states 211. This is from the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. Underneath registrant info, can you please state for the jury what name is listed?
Under registrant info or registration info? I'm sorry. Under registrant info,
Right, yes. Oh, sorry.
the name listed is Grant Tiernan Amato.
And at the top, does it tell you a vehicle?
At the top, yes, it does.
And what vehicle is that?
It appears to be a white Honda, four-door.
And is this the same white Honda? Actually, where's the... Is this the same white Honda that you in fact did your investigation on at the sheriff's office?
Yes, it is.
Now showing you states 212 in evidence. What is this a photograph of?
This is a photograph of that same vehicle, just taken from the front driver area of the vehicle.
I'm now showing you what's in evidence of states 214. Do you recognize this exhibit?
I do.
What is this a photograph of?
This is a photograph that I took of the front passenger compartment of that vehicle and showing some of the items that were on the front passenger seat as well as in the door and on the floor.
And did you go through all of the items that were in that front passenger seat?
Yes, I did.
Now showing you states 215 in evidence. What is this a photograph of?
This is a photograph of some of the items on the front passenger seat to include a red folder.
And was this photograph taken after you moved the garment bag out of the way?
Yes, it was.
Did you subsequently collect that red folder in this photograph for evidence?
Yes, I did.
Showing counsel what's been pre-marked as states 8M for identification and states 8G for identification. Permission to approach the witness.
You may.
Showing you what's been marked for identification as states 8G. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
By the unique case number for this incident, the unique item number that I assigned to this incident, as well as my initials both on the front of the bag and on the security seal on the back of the bag.
And what is this an exhibit of?
This is the red folder that we saw in the pictures.
And is this item in substantially the same condition as when you collected it for evidence?
Yes, it appears to be.
Now showing you what's been pre-marked as states 8M. Do you recognize this exhibit?
I do.
How do you recognize it?
Again, by that same unique case number, the unique item number that I gave to this item, and my initials again on both the front and the back.
And what is this an exhibit of?
This is an exhibit that contains papers that I collected from this red folder.
And is that item in substantially the same condition as when you collected it for evidence?
Yes, it is.
State would move into evidence states 8G and 8M into evidence of states next.
No objection, Judge.
All right. What's been pre-marked for ID as 8G will be moved into evidence as 221 in evidence. What's been pre-marked for ID as 8M will be moved into evidence as states 222 in evidence.
I'm also showing counsel 14X for identification. Permission to approach the witness.
You may.
I'm showing you what's been pre-marked as states 14X. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
This is a photograph that I took of that red folder once I opened it up, showing what was inside.
And is this a fair and accurate depiction of the inside of the red folder?
Yes, it is.
Permission to move states 14X into evidence of states next.
No objection, Judge.
All right. What's been pre-marked for ID as States Exhibit 14X will be moved into evidence as States Exhibit 223 in evidence.
With the court's permission, I'd ask the witness to publish or open the next exhibits.
All right, can we do so? Gloves there.
Yes, ma'am.
Starting with the red folder. Again, I'm going to show you states 215. If you could please hold up the red folder and publish to the jury. I'm also going to show you states 223 on the overhead. When you located the folder, were there contents inside of the folder?
Yes, there were.
And did you collect those contents?
Yes, I did.
If you could, please, you open the package 222?
Yes, I did.
And was that item contained inside the red folder?
It was inside the red folder, yes.
With the court's permission, I would ask you to please read 222 into the record. And simultaneously, I'm going to publish states 216 on the overhead.
You may.
Thank you, ma'am. It begins, brother, they just told me what happened. Dad told you to pack your shit and get out of his house because you were caught texting that woman again. Grant, I'll take care of all your problems. I just need you back. I can't live without you, brother. I said I'd take care of all your problems at the house, and I have. No one will bother you again regarding this. Just please come home. I can't do this again. If you think I'm part of the problem here, then I've really lost you, and I can't take that loss after everything.
States 217. If you could please publish that portion of the letter.
It reads, "There is nothing I can say to change your mind on this. I love you, O22, that's spelled OTOU-TOU, and I wish you felt the same. I was going to come after you again, but what's the point?"
Thank you. Now I'm going to show you photograph 218 in evidence. What is this a photograph of?
This is a photograph I took of the rear driver's compartment of that same white Honda.
And did you collect the items in the backseat of this vehicle?
Yes, I did.
I'm now showing you states 219. What is this a photograph of?
A photograph of that same area, just paying a little bit more attention to the folded pair of jeans that are on the rear driver's seat.
I'm now showing you what's in evidence of states 220. What is this a photograph of?
This is a photograph of the right rear pocket of those jeans, trying to show the contents inside them.
And did you collect the jeans that are depicted in states 220, as well as the contents inside of the jeans?
Yes, I did.
I'm showing counsel what's been pre-marked as states 13H, 8N, and 13V as in Victor. Permission to approach the witness.
You may.
Showing the witness what's been marked as states, pre-marked as states 13H. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
By the unique incident number, the unique item number, and my initials on both the front and the back of the bag.
And what is this in exhibit?
This is a bag that contains the blue jeans that we've seen in the previous pictures.
And is this item in substantially the same condition as when you collected it for evidence?
Yes, it is.
Now I'm going to show you states 8N. So Nancy, do you recognize this exhibit?
I do. Yes.
And to your knowledge, was this a part of the contents inside of those blue jeans in 220?
Yes, this was part of the contents that were inside those blue jeans. Yes, ma'am.
And the contents of this package, were they submitted to digital forensics for further analysis?
Yes, they were.
Now showing you states 13V as in Victor. Do you recognize this exhibit?
I do.
How do you recognize it?
By the case number, item number, and my initials.
And what are the contents of this exhibit?
Inside this envelope is one USB thumb drive that I collected from these jeans.
Thank you. This time the state would ask to move into evidence states 13H and 13V as in Victor into evidence of states next.
No objection, Judge.
All right. As to State's Exhibit, did you do 8N as well?
No.
Okay. So 13H would be entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 224 in evidence, which has been pre-marked for ID as State's Exhibit 13V, and Victor would be 225 in evidence.
Did you examine the defendant's vehicle for the presence of any suspected blood?
Yes, I did.
Did you locate any suspected blood?
No, I did not.
Were any weapons located inside the vehicle?
No, there were not.
How long did it take you to process the defendant's vehicle?
I processed the defendant's vehicle over the course of 2 days.
This time the state would tender the witness.
Good afternoon, sir. You've been doing this about 18 years,
Yes, sir.
so you've processed a lot of crime scenes.
Over the years, yes, I have.
Okay. How many triple homicides?
I believe at least 2, possibly 3.
Okay. This is a pretty big deal, a triple homicide, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Now, you were not involved in the processing of 2112 Salton Circle, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you processed this car on the 26th, I believe? Is that right? Or 20?
I'm sorry.
The car, I'm sorry, Grant Amato's car,
The car was processed by me on the 30th and 31st.
30th and 31st.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in your experience, even though this was, I think, 5 days, if blood evidence, any blood was, say, left on the carpeting or any surface, even though the 5 days had passed, it would still be retrievable.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And it could be done, it could be retrieved by you by, like the DNA swab or other methods?
Yes, it can.
Okay. Now, I assume that you were briefed about the circumstances at 2112 Salton Circle?
To an extent, yes, sir.
Okay. Were you told that Mr. Amato had been arrested for this crime?
Arrested? No, sir.
Yet on 1:30, you did not know that Mr. Amato had been arrested?
Honestly, no.
No, okay. Did you know that he was a suspect?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I know that makes a difference whether or not you're in jail, but nevertheless, that does lay a lot of importance on this vehicle, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Was it your understanding from being briefed that and I don't want to assume Grant did this, whoever did this probably went from the crime scene in the house straight to this vehicle?
It's possible, yes, sir.
Okay. That would be a pretty reasonable assumption.
Yes, it would.
I don't want you to speculate, sorry. But nevertheless, this car was probably entered into by a suspect right after a crime was committed.
Yes, sir, quite possibly.
Did you ever see pictures of the crime scene?
A few, yes.
Okay. Had you seen those few pictures before you processed this car?
I saw several photographs during a homicide briefing that was conducted at the sheriff's office. Yes, sir.
Okay, and that would be helpful for you to understand what exactly you might be looking for in that car, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And I think probably number one thing to look for would be any evidence of blood.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's say start out with the door handles of the car. Were they ever swabbed for blood?
The interior driver's door handle was swabbed, but that was the only door handle.
That was what?
That was the only door handle
Okay.
that was swabbed.
The outside door handle was not?
Correct.
Is there any reason why?
At the time, we were asked to basically examine the car for the presence of blood and any weapons and to collect any items that were in the car. And I processed the vehicle for blood using a chemical called Blue Star.
So if I'm showing you this, and this is the passenger side, however, that would be like the door handle you would have swabbed for blood?
On the driver's side.
On the driver, yeah, I'm showing you the passenger.
But on the passenger side, yes, sir.
I don't think we have a picture of the driver's side. But nevertheless, you did process the driver's side handle.
I swabbed the interior handle, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I know this is the passenger side, but I assume, well, I don't want to assume, but the driver's side would probably have a floor mat too?
Yes.
Okay. Was that floor mat removed?
No, it was not.
How was it processed for blood?
I examined it first with a white light, looking for any obvious red-brown stains. I then used a green light to look at that same area because blood absorbs green light, so any suspected blood would appear dark on that floor mat. And then I sprayed that chemical called Blue Star. And with Blue Star is a presumptive test for the presence of blood, and any suspected blood, as well as some additional materials, will glow or luminesce if it's present.
Did you take the floor mat out and spray it, or did you just spray it when it was in?
I sprayed it on the floor mat, inside the car.
So it was never removed?
Correct.
Okay. Did you check underneath the floor mat and spray that?
Not that I can recall, no, sir.
And why is that, sir?
Well, quite simply, I did not swab.
I understand. If you didn't, you didn't.
Didn't.
Now, how about, though, wouldn't it have been maybe more thorough if you had removed the floor mat, sent it off, or go take it back to your lab and examine it more closely?
It's possible, yes, sir. But I felt that with both the examination using the white light, the green light, and the Blue Star, that between those three different methods of examining for blood, I felt that if something was there, it more than likely would have appeared.
Okay. How about the steering wheel, sir? Did you swab that?
I swabbed the steering wheel as well as collected the steering wheel cover.
Okay, that was collected?
Yes, it was.
Okay. How about the gear shifter? Was that examined?
The gear shifter was swabbed for genetic material, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the seats appear to be cloth seats, is that right?
Yes.
Were those swabbed, Mr. Brothers?
The seats were not, no.
Okay, and why is that?
Again, I felt that with the same methods that I had mentioned before, that if I was looking for suspected blood in this car, that they would have appeared
From the spraying?
from either the spray or from one of the two lights that I used.
Okay, because, I mean, when you're talking about blood and somebody's at a place and they're walking and they picked up just a little bit of blood, it could be transferred to something such as the car seat, correct?
It's
This is based upon. Thank you, Your Honor. And it could be a small speck, not visible to the eye.
Yes, it's possible.
And that's why you have the spray and things of that nature.
Correct.
But nothing came up.
Nothing came up.
Okay. How about the center console? Did you process that?
I do, with the lights and the chemicals, yes, but I do not believe I swabbed it for,
Once again,
Potential
nothing
DNA.
came up then?
correct.
Okay. Now, I noticed that there was a red tape on the trunk. That would be, red tape would be evidence tape, correct?
Yes,
That would be right there. And that's evidence tape right there.
yes, it is.
Now, did you go inside that trunk?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what was in there?
A lot of clothing as well as shoes and other items.
Okay. How about the shoes? Did you collect the shoes?
I collected the shoes.
Did you process the shoes?
I examined the shoes for suspected blood, yes.
Was that again with the spray?
Not the spray, just the two lights.
The two lights. And what
Yes,
was
sir.
the results of that?
No suspected blood observed.
Thank you, sir. Was there anything else in the trunk that was processed?
Besides the actual trunk itself?
Yes, sir.
The actual carpet that was in the trunk, yes, I did examine that with the lights and the chemical spray, and they were also negative.
Negative, okay. How about, the car, was the car equipped, it looks like it might have had a radio in it with some knobs. Was that examined at all?
It was examined with the lights and the spray, yes, sir.
And no presence of blood there?
No presence of blood.
Now, how about the gas pedal and the foot pedal, sir? Was that processed?
That was included with the spray, yes, sir.
Okay. And in your experience, That might be a really prime spot where you might locate blood.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I mean, if somebody had walked through blood or something, and they walked to the car, I mean, that would be a really good source, right? The foot pedals and the brake pedals?
Yes, it's possible.
Okay, what was the results of that testing?
I did not observe anything.
No blood? Okay. How about the sun visors on top? Was that processed at all?
I do not recall.
Okay. Were the window buttons, like on the side, on the driver's side, was that processed, sir?
Yes.
Okay, any indication of blood there?
No.
Did you examine underneath both seats of the car?
As far as I could without removing them, yes, sir.
Okay, anything of evidentiary value under there?
No.
How about what we typically would say like the vents, like right here? Were those examined at all?
I examined them as well as sprayed them, yes.
And how about this garment bag with the hanger up there? Was that examined?
I examined it with the lights, yes, sir.
Okay. And the rocker panels right here on the driver's side or on the passenger side, was that processed, sir?
Yes, they were.
Any presence of blood there?
No.
The red folder, was that processed at all?
No.
It was not? How about the pen inside the folder?
No, it was not.
Here we have the jeans, and this is a close-up of the same jeans, correct?
Yes.
Was that processed at all to see if there's any blood there?
I examined them with the lights and did not observe any suspected blood.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you did a very thorough job of processing this vehicle, and through that whole process, you did not find any presence of blood there.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Brothers.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Just one question. If a person did not walk in blood, would they leave blood within the car?
Not necessarily, no.
If they didn't touch any blood, would you expect to find blood in the car?
No, I would not.
So if they didn't walk in blood, you would not expect to find blood in the car?
Correct.
Nothing further.
Members of the jury, do you have any questions? All right. Y'all can approach. All right, Mr. Brothers, our jurors have some questions for you.
Okay.
First, were the insides of the shoes found in the trunk examined for suspected blood? If so, what were the results?
Again, using those same two different lights, the white and the green, and I did not observe anything that appeared to be suspected blood inside them.
Was the black pants or black shirt recovered from the, was there black pants or black shirt recovered from the car?
I believe so, yes, ma'am, but I would have to refer to my notes to confirm that.
All right, would that refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am, it would.
All right, look at the notes and then let me know when you're done, and then I can ask if your memory's refreshed.
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready.
All right, is your memory refreshed?
Yes, it is.
All right, was there black pants or black shirt recovered from the car?
There was a pair of black pajama bottoms that were recovered from a garbage bag in the trunk. Yes.
All right. Was it confirmed that Cody wrote the note in the red folder?
I do not know.
Again, this one to the same note. Did Grant explain how the note, states 222, I believe, presumably written by Cody, came to be in his possession in his car?
No, ma'am, not to me.
Okay. Does it appear the handwriting in the note in the car and the handwriting in the note found in the DoubleTree hotel room are similar?
Well, for one thing, I'm not a handwriting expert, but in addition to that, I've never seen that note from the DoubleTree. So unfortunately, I can't answer that.
Is it common to find such notes?
To find such notes in a car, and yes, you know, we find notes all the time in cars and houses, in wallets, et cetera.
Please define abrasion for us.
Abrasion is really a superficial damage to the skin. So you're not talking about like a deep cut. You're not talking about even necessarily a bruise. It's just some type of very, very slight superficial damage to the skin that normally just appears red.
Was the stationery of the note, Exhibit 222, the same as the note found in the Hotel 185?
Unfortunately, I don't know. I've not ever seen anything from the hotel room.
How much blood is needed for Blue Star to glow?
Well, with Blue Star, basically what you're talking about is that at a minimum detection level, you're looking at roughly 1 part blood per 10,000 parts of something else. So Blue Star is designed to look for primarily diluted samples, not like big red blood drops. Blue Star is designed to look for very, very small amounts of blood. So the threshold is roughly 1 in 10,000.
Was there any GSR test done on the car?
No.
The steering wheel or the driver's seat?
The steering wheel cover was collected in part in case it needed to be tested for gunshot residue in the future. However, I don't know whether or not that was actually done.
And the driver's seat?
The driver's seat, no, ma'am.
All right. Any questions based on those questions? State?
Just one, Judge. Is there any GSR testing of any of the items belonging to Jason Amato?
I collected a gunshot residue kit from Jason Amato's but I do not recall if it was actually ever sent off for analysis.
Thank you, sir.
Any redirect? Yes, sir. Based on that question.
To your knowledge, why was the gunshot residue, or the kit, now, can you explain how you conducted the gunshot residue kit from Jason Amato?
Yes. The gunshot residue kit is a prepackaged kit, just like the buckle swab kit. And there are 2 small plastic discs inside it. And they're very, very, very sticky. And what we do is that we take those discs, those stubs, and we dot all over a person's hands. So the fingers, the palms in between, et cetera. And we do 1 stub per each hand. And those sticky stubs, what happens is that if you're looking for gunshot residue particles, those particles will hopefully stick to that stub and be able to be observed under a scanning electron microscope.
And you did that to Jason Amato?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And was that sent for further testing?
To my knowledge, no, ma'am.
And why not?
Because based on the information that I was given, that he was not considered to be a person of interest in the case.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further.
Any more questions from any members of the jury? All right, may this witness be excused and released.
Subject to recall.
All right, so you're excused, Mr. Brothers. You're free to go about your business, but you're not released from your subpoena, so you still can't talk to anyone regarding the case. All right, thank you. All right, State, if you can call your next witness.
Janell Kennedy.
Ms. Kennedy, if you could please come forward, raise your right hand, be ready to be sworn. If you could turn off your phone.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the complete truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Go up to the witness stand.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Kennedy. How are you?
All right, and yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. Please tell us your name, and can you speak up, please? So we can hear you?
My name is Janell Kennedy. I work for Securitas. We are,
Well, let me, I want to
I'm
get...
sorry.
Can you spell your name, your first and last name, please?
Janell. First name's Janell, last name's Kennedy, Kennedy.
Okay, now, what do you do for an occupation, please?
I'm the site supervisor for security at CVS Health.
And what company do you work for? What's it called?
Securitas.
And tell the jury, what is Securitas? What type of...
Security companies, different contracts. So inside the mall, call centers, maybe a hospital, schools, so different things like that, where you're patrolling the perimeters and everyone inside the building.
So you provide security?
Yes,
And you contract with various companies and entities?
yes,
And I think you may have mentioned this, but one of the companies that you contract with is CVS?
yes, CVS Health,
And where do you actually work out of? Where do you work?
at CVS Health in Orlando, Florida. It's a call center.
Okay. And specifically, what is your title?
Site supervisor.
And specifically, what are your duties over there?
Overseeing the building, not only my staff, but the entire building, making sure everyone's following protocol, using their badges to enter in the building and throughout the building, filling out any incident reports.
And where is the CVS building located in, or is it in Orlando?
Yes, 9310 South Park Center Loop, Orlando, Florida. It's off of John Young Parkway.
Now, do you know of a person named Chad Amato?
Yes, I found out who he was.
Okay. Now, who is Chad Amato?
He was a pharmacist at CVS Health, worked on the third floor.
So he worked in the building that
Yes, he
you
did.
supervised over as far as security?
Yes,
And specifically, now you weren't his supervisor and you weren't his employer. You just provided security at the building.
yes.
But do you know what did Chad Amato do at that particular location?
He was, it's a call center, so more so dealing with prescriptions over the phone. You might as well say like getting the orders out, making sure refilling. He was on the third floor, so they had their own department area where he sat at, little section.
Okay. He was a call-in pharmacist?
Calling pharmacist.
Showing Mr. Shapiro states 10Z for identification. May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Let me show you what's been marked as 10Z for identification. Ask you to look at this document.
Okay.
You recognize 10Z for identification, what that document is?
Yes, I do.
And would you please tell the jury what is 10Z for identification?
This is Chad's badge report for the day when he last worked at CVS Health Orlando.
And did you say, just so we're clear, did you say his badge report?
His badge report from when
And what is badge report?
when all employees are required to have a badge when they enter the building, so they swipe. That swipe, their badge tracks them each place where they go. So from entering to the door, the turnstiles, the hallway, elevators, so that's how they can keep track of all employees.
And what day is that for?
January 24th.
2019.
2019.
And that particular document is that document kept in the course of the regularly conducted business of Securitas?
We have to pull records from corporate security, which is a part of Securitas, so yes.
And is it the normal, regular practice of Securitas to generate or create that document if it's needed?
Yes, it is.
I'd offer that into evidence as a state's exhibit, Your Honor.
Any objection?
None.
All right, what's been pre-marked for ID as 10Z will be moved into evidence as 220, is it, 1 second. 226?
All right, Ms. Kennedy, I'm going to put this up on the overhead. I'm going to zoom in. And tell me, starting from the bottom column, that each column is differentiated by gray and then white, gray, white, gray, white. The very bottom column, and you know, we have a laser pointer over there. Yes. It may be easier. Can you, first of all, can you see that?
I can see it.
On the very bottom column, the gray column going across, can you explain to us, first of all, the left side of that, what does that show?
As far as the date and time?
Yeah, just basically the information that's contained on that bottom gray column.
It's the date and time. What you'll see is 2 different time zones. So the Eastern time zone is what we go by. So the 6:46 that you see would be when Chad arrived at the building. He scanned his badge outside.
Okay, and that's my next question. Where was that badge scanned?
Outside of the building, the main entrance.
And that was 6:46:49 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay, then the column right above that, what does that show?
That shows once he entered the building, he scanned his badge again on the turnstiles.
And where is the turnstiles in relationship to the front door, or the doors that he entered?
Right in front, pretty much, they're like 10
Just-
feet, if less than that. So they walk in, they badge, they scan in, they walk a few feet, and the turnstile's right there.
And that's the reason why it's 6 seconds different? You
Yes.
see 49 seconds and 55 seconds?
Yes.
Okay, what about the column above that where it says 6:47 a.m.?
That's where afterwards he walks down the hall, and to get into that area, he scanned his badge.
Okay,
Well,
go ahead. The column above that where it says 6:47? 30 seconds?
That's how he's walking across the collaboration area. He goes inside another door where he scans his badge.
And
To
then-
go up the stairwell, and then you see 6:48 is when he arrives at the 3rd floor stairwell, which is,
And then, go ahead, the
and
one
then
above.
7:05, he must have went downstairs for something, not sure. And then the last one at 4:32 p.m. is where it shows him leaving.
Well, let me ask you, it says 7:05, I'm going down to where it says 7:05:08, 08 a.m.
Right.
That shows him going downstairs
Like
to
he
the
went
first
back
floor?
Down to the first floor.
And then just,
A few seconds later, he's back upstairs. He went right back upstairs.
okay. And then up until, from that point on until the afternoon, no scanning at all?
He may have stood up at his desk or went to the cafeteria on the third floor or something like that. But
Nothing that involves scanning?
no, nothing involves scanning.
Okay, and then the very top column, the last column on the top there.
4:32 p.m. That shows him leaving the building. Or he scanned his badge to get out and walk through the collaboration area to go out the side door.
And that was at 4:32, 33 seconds.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Ms. Kennedy, is there a surveillance system in in that building, cameras?
Yes, there is.
And as the supervisor of security, are you familiar with how that system works and where the various cameras are?
Yes, I am.
Can you give us a sense of where the surveillance cameras are?
It's throughout the building and outside the building. So you got it internal and external. Inside, as far as cameras, it's over 60 cameras inside the building.
Now, on the January 24th, 2019, were there any issues or problems with the surveillance system?
No,
Working properly?
they were working fine.
Now, at some point after January 24th, 2019, did members of the Seminole County Sheriff's Office speak with you about this particular case?
Yes, you did.
And did they request surveillance video of the inside of the building for the day of January 24th, 2019?
Yes, they did.
And were you able to locate that?
Yes, I was.
And was that provided to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, it was.
And actually, did that surveillance video include not only the interior, but a shot of the parking lot at the end of the day?
Yes, you see him walking to his car.
Showing counsel 10Y for identification. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Let me show you what's been. Did you provide a copy of the surveillance video to the Sheriff's Office?
I gave them different clips of the footage of Chad throughout the day, where I can see him coming in the morning until he gets to his desk, and then in the evening when he walks out the building to his car, you see him putting something inside his car. Then he goes to his driver's side. He sits in his car for a while, and then he eventually pulls off a few minutes later.
Your Honor, can we approach for a moment, please?
Afternoon recess now, we will for about an hour, 90 minutes or so. So I will take just a short 10-minute recess, and then we'll go back, okay? All right, y'all may be seated. Okay, at this point, what we can do is, if you want to show it while she's still there.
Yes, please.
That way there's no discussion and the court can assure there's no discussion.
Yes.
So you just go from there, okay? All right, we'll take a 10-minute recess otherwise.